Hey there, it's Lady Night, and today I would like to do a new hashtag because in the past few months or so there has been this topic going around on YouTube about like deck shaming, people buying a lot of decks and other people being like, what do you need all these decks for? And so in that spirit I thought I would like to create a hashtag in order to celebrate our shopping for tarot decks. So hashtag shopping for tarot and oracle as well is what I would like to do, because we have our own money. We can do with our money whatever we want, and if someone had a huge library with like I don't know how many hundreds of books, no one would tell that person, you have way too many books. They'd be like, oh my god, you have so many books. You know, so why not do the same thing with tarot decks? And be like, oh my god, you have so many tarot decks. That's great. Okay, so I've got 10 questions. Let's see how this goes. Number 1, what was the last deck you bought and why that one? Okay, so I bought 3 decks all together at once. One was the, it's called the Angel Tarot, Tarot de Los Angeles, or Angeles. It is from 2018 and it's made in Spain, but I have seen videos now on YouTube in different languages that were before 2018. So maybe it just hasn't been released over here earlier. So yeah, this is a deck, and I do have a walkthrough that I'm going to upload soon. And since I want to work with angels, I did get 2 Doreen Virtue decks. These ones, this is the Archangel Gabriel Oracle, and this one is the it's the German version of the 2002 Angel Messages or something, Messages from the Angels deck, but it looks very different from the original. So yeah, I bought all of these decks for my focus year studies for the upcoming years, where I want to learn more about angels, and so I have looked at all the decks that I could find on that topic, and yeah, she who shall not be named, she does have some good decks, but a lot of them are not even hers. We all know that as soon as someone else's name is on there, they probably did the work, especially with Radley Valentine's decks. Number 2, what's your decision process when you buy a deck? Well, in like from summer 2018 to summer 2019, in that 1 year, it was kind of catching up with everything that I had missed, because in the time between like 2007 and 2018, so in those 10-11 years, I didn't buy any tarot decks, or I didn't even know about oracle decks at the time. I didn't buy any tarot books, so I really didn't know about all these decks that are out there now. So if I had known about these decks, I probably would have gotten them before she who shall not be named had her change of heart. Yeah, so I was kind of making up for everything that I missed within those 10-11 years. And now, when I buy a deck, I really think about, okay, do I need this deck? Do I want this deck because it looks pretty? Is it going to be a collector's item, which is okay? Or am I going to use it for a specific purpose? And yeah, so all of these things I take into consideration. And also, do I have the budget? Because I'm not going over budget. Number 3, what would be deal breakers in a deck that keep you from buying it. Deal breakers for me are violence against animals. So there are some decks that I'm not going to buy. Like, for example, oh, what was it? It's this one with the really cute animals, but the something forest, magical forest, is that the name? Many people in our community have it. And the 10 of Swords, well, the swords are in the animal, and that is just too much for me. I can't see that. If the swords are in a human being, I can deal with that, but in animals, no. Or in the Mermaid Tarot by Lisa Robertson, the 3 of Swords with the whale and the animal being dead and the 3 swords lying there. Same with the Death card, that was just a bit too much for me. Or when there's, like with the Strength card, if it looks like they're hurting a lion, that is also a deal breaker for me. So, at least nowadays, because I bought that deck, that was probably one of the last tarot decks that I bought in 2007. And there the lion looks like he's being strangled, and I wouldn't buy a deck like that today. Number 4, Little White Book or Big Guidebook. As long as there's at least a Little White Book, that's perfectly fine, as long as I can have some information about the cards, and especially if it's maybe a different system, and it would be really helpful to get some insights into what the creator was thinking and why they were doing it that way, or why they used certain symbols in the images, or if they renamed any of the suits, then that is definitely helpful. But if I have the ability to choose between the deck and a tuck box with a Little White Book, or if I can get it in a big set with a big guidebook, then if the budget allows it, I would go for the big guidebook to get additional information. Number 5, do you have new deck rituals? How do you break in a new deck? For me, the only thing that I do is I go through every single card, I look at all of the cards, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't use any incense on them. I don't have any rituals specifically. So I really just look through all the cards to become familiar with the images, and I have the guidebook or the Little White Book right next to me, so that if I have a question about one of the images, then I can look to the book. But yeah, that's pretty much all I do. I just familiarize myself with the images. Number 6, have you ever been disappointed after receiving a deck because it looked or felt different than expected? Yes. There is a deck. This is the French version of the Fallen Angels Oracle, because I got this, I think in summer this year, and that was before I learned, like a week before I found out that it's going to be reprinted and it will be sold again. I think April 2020 is when it will be re-released. And so like the English deck is so expensive, you can't pay for that. So I saw this French one for just 36, and I didn't have to think twice. But I was disappointed, because not because of the language, and I don't speak French, but actually what I thought was really a shame is that the creator, I mean, it's a Photoshop deck, and that's perfectly fine, but on some of the cards, let me see if I can find one. Of course, like here, I don't know if you can see this. The lion head is way too small for the body. So some of these Photoshop jobs are not done very well. The perspectives are not the way that they should be. And I've seen this on some of the other cards as well, as like every time they exchanged the head with the normal figure. Like here I think the head is a little bit too big. Come on, focus. Hello. Focus. Yeah, I think here the head is simply a little bit too big. So, yeah, that's something. And then also some of the keywords, they repeat themselves. I think there are 4 cards in here that have the keyword danger on them. Why? So, yeah. But nonetheless, I have already pre-ordered the English version so that I'm going to be able to read the guidebook and work with these cards, because I still think that they will be great for my angel studies. And wait, there. And so that's why I am going to work with them regardless. Okay, number 7. Do you interview new decks? Yes and no. I've interviewed some decks. I don't always interview them right away. Sometimes I do the interviews a little bit later. But I think interviewing the decks is a very helpful process, because some of those interviews did not go the way that I thought they would. Like, for example, the outcome of what the deck actually wants to talk about. I never thought that I would have a deck that wants to talk about current events and political stuff. And I, like my Arcus Arcanum comic book style deck, like very 70s He-Man kind of comics, wants to talk about feelings, and that's something I never would have guessed just by looking at it, but interviewing it, that's what I found out. So interviews are definitely very helpful. Number 8. Do you ever buy decks for a specific purpose and only using it for that one? Well, for me, these angel decks that I have, I bought them specifically for my angel studies. But once I have completed my studies, if such a thing is ever possible, of course I will use them for other things as well. Like if I have questions and I think one of those decks will be able to answer them, then yes, I would use them for something else. But for now, I have some of my decks for a specific reason, and also some of the books that I have for specific studies that I want to do. And yeah, so for me right now the answer is yes, but not all of my decks are like that. Some I buy simply because I think they're pretty and I would love to have them. Number 9. Do you differentiate between decks you buy for yourself and decks you would use for other people? Well, all of the decks that I buy because I like them. And I think mass market decks that are not that expensive, I have no problem using them for other people and having other people use them, touch them, shuffle them. But if it was an out-of-print deck or a very expensive deck, a limited edition or something, that I would probably keep to myself and not use for other people. But something as basic as the typical RWS, or something like even the Housewives Tarot or other decks that I have, I would use for other people. And number 10, what is one thing you wish deck creators would do or do more of or stop doing? Well, something that I would like to see, and I guess a lot of us as well, is decks without borders. It saves a lot of time having to cut them off. The images can be bigger and therefore we could see more details in the cards. We don't need multiple languages. Los Scarabeo has shown that in some of their decks when they only have the numbers and then a symbol, so you don't really need to have 5-6 different languages on a card. And as long as you have a guidebook or a little white book in different languages, I think that's perfectly fine. And yeah, so for me, borders are something that I would like to get rid of. And I love that Los Scarabeo has been re-releasing some of their decks without borders, like the Pagan Tarot, or what was it? I think the Universal Fantasy Tarot has been re-released without borders. And I wish they would do their Los Scarabeo Tarot without borders, because that one has a border within a border within a border. And I wish they would re-release that one with bigger images, just like the small black or whatever color thing at the bottom with like the number and a symbol or something, or even just English titles. That would be really amazing because I love that deck. And yeah, I think that's really the only thing that I personally would wish for. Anything else? Can't really think of anything else. No, the borders. That's my thing. Yeah. So these are my 10 questions. If you'd like to do a VR, please let me know in the comments and I will definitely check out your video. And yeah, let's celebrate buying decks. Why not? We can do with our money whatever we want. And if that brings us joy, you know, other people, they go out dancing and clubbing and drinking and whatnot. And we sit at home and read cards. What's wrong with that? So, in that sense, yay for shopping for tarot. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!